partnership with parents in the community, Birmingham Public Schools will provide educational excellence that empowers students to cultivate their individual brilliance and positively impact the world.
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Education meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, April 15th, and this is our monthly meeting. Our first order of business is roll call. Tracy?
Trustee Angelini?
Present.
Trustee Hokemer?
Here.
Trustee Joseph?
Here.
Trustee Tajani?
Here.
Trustee Rass?
Here.
Trustee Spencer?
Here.
Trustee Zamet?
Thank you, Tracy. Trustee Hokemer, could you please read our vision and board norms?
Yes. Our vision is that all students in Birmingham will realize their full potential, think critically, and champion an innovative tomorrow. And our board norms are be respectful and reflective, be prepared, no surprises, ask questions and seek to understand opinions, assume positive intent, understand and respect the role of a trustee.
Thank you. Trustees, do we have any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Roberson for tonight's recognitions.
Good evening. Well, I would like to start our first recognition by asking Colleen Hoyne, our Pembroke principal, to come up to the podium. She is going to talk about our winners for Battle of the Books, which is a activity that all of our elementary students participate in, and I'm going to let her give a little bit more information about it.
Hello, thank you for having us tonight. We are super excited from Pembroke to be here to celebrate the 2025 Battle of the Books winners. Battle of the Books is a competition held each year between 4th and 5th graders from across the district who reads a selection of curated books and then have to answer trivia questions around them. This year, all of the teams that made it into the top places answered all of the questions correctly and went into tiebreaker. So the team that won actually had to answer not only all the questions correct, but also all of the tiebreaker. This team worked tirelessly with parent volunteers, our librarian, Mrs. Julie Green, to be prepared, and they actually, many of them took 3rd place last year and came back determined to win this year. They were spreading that, they read, and we are super excited to welcome them up here and announce them. Can I bring them up and introduce them? Awesome. So this team consists of 5 students from Pembroke and actually 1 student from Pierce. So from Pembroke, we have Arya Gupta, Tessa Anga, Tessa Mockenridge, Rosella Pardonay, Eliza Lip, and from Pierce, we have Emily Bell. And then Mrs. Julie Green, our school librarian, is here as well, and I would love for her to come up and join the team.
Parents, you can come up to the front here and take pictures.
You can come up and take pictures if you want. You can come up and take pictures if you want.
This is called girl power, I want you to know.
Parents, feel free to come up here and you can take a picture.
Come closer.
Come closer. I have to say, when Dr. Roberson and I toured Pembroke, Eliza told us when she was giving us a tour that they were going to win Battle of the Books. So
She sure did.
I am so excited to see you here tonight, and again, congratulations.
She sure did. She was very emphatic about it, too. Yes. So we're so excited. Next, I want to ask Principal Wicker to come up, and he's going to talk about the See Home Belize science trip with Mrs. Holloway.
So picture, it's the summer of 2002, and a young Mike Wickers boarding a plane for the first time to fly internationally on a trip run by Judy Gray, the social worker, called Iberia to Bavaria. And for lack of a better phrase, this trip changed my life. Ever since that period, I have visited 31 countries, 43 states, and 2 unincorporated United States possessions. Needless to say, I've been the biggest advocate for student travel since I arrived at Seaholm 15 years ago. When Allison approached me about her AP Bio course doing a STEM trip to Belize over midwinter break, I was thrilled and happy to sign off. I'm proud to introduce her this evening to share a bit of her experience over her midwinter break trip.
Thank you, Mr. Wicker. I had never done a trip to this magnitude. Unlike Mr. Wicker, I am not as well traveled as him, and I kept seeing all of the trips advertised for the foreign languages. I was like, there's a lot of really cool science going around. Why aren't we doing a science trip? So I did some research, and I got down a little rabbit hole. Next thing you know, I was asking Mr. Wicker for approval. I wanted to go to the Galapagos. Got shut down for some political reasons, but that's okay. We found Belize. We got to do coral reef restorations. We got to do forest reforestation efforts. We also got to dissect a lionfish. They saw scientists. They worked with real scientists in Belize at a real marine biology station on an island to go and hunt lionfish out of the coral reefs, and learned why they are racking so much havoc on the coral reefs. It was phenomenal. They got to feed bats. They captured bats, fed them, collected data, helped a researcher from Canada who was visiting to actually collect hair samples that he was explaining to the students they were going to take back, analyze the isotopes to see what's eating who in his food web. So when I first proposed the trip, I was worried it was going to be overpriced tourism. And then after I did it, I was very pleased to see how much real science that the company embedded in the trip. But not only did the students get science, they also got cultural experiences. We got to meet with a group of local Mayan women who taught us how to cook some of their common foods. They showed us how they do sustainable farming. It was top notch. I was beyond impressed with it, and I look forward to doing more STEM trips in the future.
Is there another one scheduled on the books?
There is. It just got approved this week. We're going to Azores off of the coast of Portugal next, and it is more of a geology/ecology-based trip. It's going to be so much fun. Summer 2026. Right, thank you, guys.
These classrooms, the international classrooms and taking these journeys, there is no better education. I think they are so beneficial to the kids in 1,001 ways. I'm so glad you took the initiative and you went down that rabbit hole and look at the experience you brought to our students.
It was truly amazing. Something I thought the whole time is, I wish I had this opportunity as a kid. I don't think I would have ever thought of as a graduate student doing the opportunities I could have had I known some of the postgraduate experiences I could have. I could go work at a lab in Belize and just collect samples for fun. I would have loved it. Here's a few of our pictures. So this is just our favorite sign. It was cute. Belize. These are the 3 students from Seaholm who attended. It was a small trip, all more girl power. We did get to, this is just to show some of the scenery we got to see. That was the boat we took out to a lot of the islands where we got to do the snorkeling and the coral reef restoration efforts. This was where we stayed, and it was called Porto Gorda, a beautiful little town right on the beach. This I took that photo with my iPhone. I was very impressed, that little palm tree. And then here are some of the cultural experiences. We got drum lessons. We made tortillas from scratch. We danced with the Mayan women. And everybody was dancing. They got all of the kids there. We were merged with other schools.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, were there other schools from different parts of the U.S.?
Yeah, and everybody, the other ones were from Massachusetts. And everywhere we went to kept asking us, is this one school? Is this one school? They had made such a cohesive group with all the kids. It was so magical. It was great. And they were all like, can we go again? Can we go again? Here, this is in the rainforest. We did where we planted trees. That's one of Seaholm's students. She's like, screw the shoes. I'm going to walk through the river. And then after we were done planting trees, we got really hot. We got really hot, and we swam down the river until to cool down, and then we didn't have to walk back through the forest. It was wonderful. And then this is some of our snorkeling photos.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I didn't want to gross anyone out with a dissected lionfish, so I didn't put that on there. And then we almost missed our flight back, so we had to run through the airport. So when we finally made it back, we were very relieved. We did get back to Michigan as planned. It was a good time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our last recognition is for National School Library Month. So Governor Whitmer has proclaimed April 2025 as School Library Month in Michigan. And she has urged all boards and superintendents, administrators to join her in recognizing our school librarians. So we have Carrie Betts and Ann Truesdale, who are here. They are our library facilitators. I'm going to ask them to come up and tell a bit more about our libraries.
We're going to pass out some literature. It's going to be great. You guys are going to love it. All right. My name is Carrie Betts. I am the elementary facilitator for our library department.
And I'm Ann Truesdale. I'm the secondary grades facilitator.
Birmingham employs 11 librarians across 13 school libraries, bound together by K-12 curriculum and mission. Our school librarians are certified teachers with master's degrees in library and information science and/or Michigan School Library endorsement. Each librarian has followed a unique career path to find their place in Birmingham Public Schools. I began working at West Maple in 2016. We were recognized in 2023 as the National School Library of the Year. And we want to tell you a little bit about what we do. We want to take you into the lives of our libraries, maybe on a general day. It's the mission of our elementary library programs to work collaboratively with classroom teachers and administrators to provide the resources and instructions for students and staff in a timely way. We cultivate a love of reading through programming that includes author visits, book breaks, which is provided by our own BEF, book fairs, book displays, genreification, first grade, first card, Battle of the Books, summer reading outreach, which is in partnership with Baldwin Public Library. We run March's Reading Month programs. We provide extended curation of books on curricular topics for our students and our classrooms, and we could be here all night.
I began my librarian career at BCS. I spent 18 years there as the school librarian before I opted to transfer to both Groves and Seaholm High Schools 3 years ago. While I knew it would be a challenge to divide my time between these two much larger buildings, believe it or not, I really wanted to work with teenagers. And I really take great pride in being part of our students' final years at BPS. In my role, which looks a little different than the elementary role as a librarian, daily role, I collaborate with my library assistants to design welcoming spaces that we hope will cultivate a love of learning in our students, supporting both their academic and their personal growth. New this year are our tea stations, which also stock hot cocoa, which is more popular, which is funded by donations from our generous parents and also some of our staff members. Our students do thank you for that. In ways like this, our high school libraries mimic the public library spaces that we hope our students will, after high school, integrate into their adult lives. I offer monthly book clubs at each high school, plus programming such as fun stuff like the Halloween puzzle competition, February's Find Your Book Match.
This year, we were able, alongside Zach Riley Kelly, to host a district-wide parent book club to discuss Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation. And our library department has strived to maintain community connections like these, whether it's with local parents, local public libraries, or district committees that we serve on to help our schools and staff.
For example, last year I participated on the BPS AI Task Force, led by Zach, in which we developed a guide for teachers to integrate artificial intelligence into the educational setting.
However, the bulk of our time is spent on instruction. At the elementary level, 75% of our time is spent teaching. We see approximately 20 sections of classes from junior kindergarten through second grade each week. And the lessons that we teach integrate read-alouds that are connected to classroom topics. In grades 3 through 5, they receive a seminar-style instruction on digital citizenship and research. We plan collaborative lessons, such as the one that we did just this last Friday with first grade. Our first grade teachers asked me if I could help out with their field trip. That was the end of their Wit and Wisdom weather curriculum study, and I said sure. And our field trip used our VR technology that we have at West Maple, and the kids got to tour the clouds. And our first graders were introduced to meteorologist Janelle McManaman, who conveyed to them the joy of science and exploration for our youngest learners. Next year, we have an opportunity. The VWE Labs will be a new addition to our role, and we are so excited to champion a thoughtful integration of inquiry design and critical thinking with state-of-the-art technologies.
At the secondary level, I operate on a flexible schedule, which means that I have no assigned classes. Instead, I collaborate with teachers to deliver just-in-time instruction on whether it be book talks or information literacy-related lessons. For example, I've collaborated with teachers to create lessons about analyzing the credibility of health-related information, showing students that TikTok actually isn't the best resource. I've reached out to university librarians and scoured studies to decipher which one research skill I should focus on to set up our students for success in college. The answer, and my subsequent lessons with social studies classes over the past few years, has been all about keyword searching in a database to find scholarly articles. And each spring, I work with senior English classes on their capstone project, in which they choose a research topic entirely of their choosing. After I deliver my lesson, I then wait for the inevitable moments when the true learning takes place, which is the productive struggle, when students get stuck and realize, yet again, that real research is more nuanced than a Google search. This is when students will visit me from class to get that individualized help. In the library profession, we call this a reference interview. Together, the student and I will decipher if their questions are actually answerable, or what else they might need to consider to reach their conclusions. We scaffold their research from background information to new keyword search terms. I show them databases that they may have overlooked. We skim the search results together to decide what's potentially relevant, determining where the student should dig in first. Of course, this is not the way it happens every single time. Because I do divide my time between the high schools, I also have students and staff reaching out to me via email when I'm not physically present. These asynchronous reference interviews are one reason why you might see me sitting alone sometimes on my computer. Indeed, some days I spend a bulk of my time on a screen doing the behind-the-scenes work that makes a library the living collection of information that it is.
Despite our distinct roles from classroom teachers, school librarians share the goal of fostering critical thinkers through educational excellence. With appropriate staffing and support, our libraries aim to continue directly contributing to Birmingham Public Schools' vision of students realizing their potential and shaping an innovative future.
Thank you for this honor and this opportunity to give you a glimpse of our days as BPS librarians.
Ladies, that was such a nice infomercial into everything that you do and everything, all the services you provide our kids. So more than this recognition, I mean, it opened my eyes, so thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. That ends our recognitions for this evening.
Thank you. Right now, we have a 5-minute recess if people would like to leave. Otherwise, we will continue on with our meeting. And I will turn it back over to Dr. Roberson for her superintendent report.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
No, it looked like a half hour to me.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So in addition to it being National School Library Month, April is also has National Paraprofessional Day in it, as well as National Assistant Principal Week. And so we also want to give a shout out to those professionals that we have within our school community. As well, it is Autism Acceptance Month. There will be an autism walk on April 25th at 12 p.m. at Barnum Park as a way to celebrate Autism Acceptance Day or Acceptance Month. Additionally, next month at our May board meeting, Audra Holdorf will come and share some of the activities that they have around Inclusion Week that they're having in the schools this month, and also other activities that they have around autism. In staff news, we are offering a buyout. I did put that in the e-news, where we are offering a buyout to teachers and also some administrators. And that is to, right now we have over 50% of our staff who is at the top of the salary scale. And so we haven't had a lot of retirements over the last few years. And so we are looking to have some of our staff members who have kind of been on the cusp and thinking about retiring, go ahead and retire. And we would be able to replace staff at a lower rate and also actualize some reductions when we can. In federal and state news, it's just information I want to share with the community. Two things. One, our district has seen federal cuts. For some of you may not know, we had a district-wide nurse, and that was paid for with federal funding. We received a memo dated April 2nd saying that federal funding would be cut for our nurse effective March 24th. That funding, that grant was supposed to go until June of 2026. And in the letter, it said that we would lose funding. The last day we would receive funding was April 4th, so a 48-hour notice. Luckily, we were able to get Oakland County ISD to pay for our nurse until the end of the month, but at the end of the month, we will no longer have a district-wide nurse. There's a couple of things that I just want to point out. In fairness, this was a cut from the Department of Health and Human Services. I do understand why the cut was made because we received this grant during COVID, so I understand that. My concern is that it was made retroactive and that it was also made without giving us any time to plan. We are almost at the end of our budget year, and so if they had even allowed us to have the nurse until the end of the school year, then it would allow us to make arrangements for next school year. The other thing that I want to share in federal and state news is around the DEI certification letter that some have seen in the news. This was a letter that on April 3rd went to state agencies saying that all state agencies had to sign a certification letter, as well as local educational agencies, which mean local districts, had 10 days to sign a letter saying that they don't use any illegal discriminatory DEI practices. That 10 days was then extended to April 24th. The state of Michigan has come out with a letter from Dr. Rice saying that Michigan will not be signing an additional letter because they already signed assurances that we do not provide illegal discriminatory practices. There is some thought process that there is a change in how and what they are considering as illegal DEI practices. And so, but they have not explicitly clarified that. And so we will continue to work our strategic plan, which provides to do what is in the best interest of all students until further notice. And we take our direction as a local school agency from the state of Michigan. And so we will continue just to do what is in the best interest of all students. Around the district, this past week, last week I believe it was the week of the young child. And that is, the purpose of that week is to celebrate young children and families as well as early childhood educators. And so I know at Midvale and also at some of the preschools around the district, they had activities for each day of the week, really celebrating the young child and the development of young children. Also, I had my coffee and conversation last week at the Michigan Coffee and Creamery right on Southfield. We had a very good turnout, actually a different crowd than what we usually have. People were sharing what was on their minds, which ranged from some of the topics that I talked about earlier to junior kindergarten at Greenfield and another number of different other topics. I also today had cookies and conversations with the Lincoln Street alternative students who also shared with me some ideas in terms of letting people know the great things that are happening at Lincoln Street. One of the things that the kids really wanted me to, or want the public to know is, that Lincoln Street is just a different environment, that is a smaller environment, that is great for some kids, and that it should be an option for kids and not seen as a stigma of somewhere kids go because they have behavior issues or that, they're credit deficient, because that is not always the case, and that some kids just need a smaller environment. So they gave a lot of different ideas about how to share that information. They are thriving there under Principal Brooks and also under the teaching staff there. I had a chance to speak at the Senior Men's Club. I want to thank Maynard Tim for the invite and Ray Barato for the president of the Birmingham Senior Men's Club. I was able to share the things that are going on in our district and also just answer questions about education in general. This Thursday, the Special Education Department is doing a partnership with the Michigan Family Alliance about understanding your IEP. It is a virtual session, so if you are interested, I believe that there's a link on our social media page and also on our website. And last thing, if you're looking for somewhere to go, Harry Potter is coming to Groves the weekend of April 24th, so get your tickets. And just a couple of accolades. Accolades to Berkshire 7th and 8th grade orchestra. This past weekend, they participated in the Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association's Solo and Ensemble Festival. There was 28 entries, and out of the 28 entries, 26 of them got a Division I rating, which is excellent. and 2 of them got a Division II rating of good. Also, shout out to the Unified Robotics, Groves and Seaholm Robotics team. They won first place at the District Renaissance competition and won first place in their division at the state championship, and they are currently at Worlds, the Worlds competition in Houston, Texas. So shout out to them and good luck to them this week. That's all I have for my superintendent's report, with the exception of our resolution. Audra and I will be going to DC in 2 weeks to advocate for full funding of IDEA. For those of you, you recall, in 1975, the government passed a law that said that they would fully fund IDEA. Fully funded, they believe, is at 40%. Till this day, and it's been 50 years now, they have never actualized that promise. Currently, we only get 11% of that, 11% when we're supposed to get 40%. And so what they have asked Board of Educations to do is to pass a resolution that allows us to advocate on behalf of the board and on behalf of the district for the full funding of IDEA. So I present resolution number 71.
I would like to have the honor to make the motion to bring the resolution number 71 for calling for full permanent funding of IDEA.
Support.
Moved by Luke, seconded by Trustee Hopenberg. Trustees, are there any questions?
I just want to point out, in case anyone didn't realize, IDEA stands for Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And this is a program that allows all students to have an equitable opportunity in education. So it's a very important piece here, and I, for one, am so glad to support this resolution and pass it.
And I would just like to add that for the last 3 years, I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C., meet with various senators, representatives, and among other topics, advocate for this. And while our representatives and our senators fully support IDEA and our proponents of full funding, we have never even been able to get a hearing to have this passed. So there's still so much work to do, and so individual citizens making phone calls, sending letters, helping to let everyone know that this affects every child in every classroom in every school district in our country. So we need to push for this as hard as anything, because I think the highest this was ever funded was at some point in the 80s or 90s at 17% of the 40%. It's never even gotten to half of what they promised us. And when you hear the word underfunded mandate or unfunded mandate, this is the largest one in education. So, and here in Birmingham, we're very fortunate that we are able to still provide amazing programming, but we could still do a lot more with the additional money. So please, and I'm sure, I know that all you have to do is Google it, and there are all kinds of letters out there that you can just send to Haley Stevens, send to Alyssa Slotkin. They've seen them all before, but every little bit helps.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, the special education students need us to be their voice, and this is the smallest thing we can do. So if you can make any phone calls or any letters or any emails to your representatives. That would be amazing support. And it's a great program. And I'm just so happy to have this resolution, to be honest. It's very exciting. So thank you.
Trustees, we have a motion moved by Trustee Joseph, seconded by Trustee Holcomer. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Dr. Roberson, thank you, and Audra for going to DC and advocating on our behalf.
When is that again?
It's April 28th,
Right around the corner.
Yeah?
or 29th, yeah,
April
29th, I think, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Trustees, now we'll move into board comments.
I have a couple. Dr. Roberson, thank you. I was going to also mention Autism Acceptance Month, a very important month. It is also Arab American Heritage Month. There are programs all around the state that are putting on display the contributions of Arabs around the world. I know students aren't going to be happy about this, but we have, algebra, geometry, astronomy. It is also, what was the other thing I had? Oh, yeah, this one I love, because this happens every blue moon, and it is when 3 major world religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, celebrated holy traditions at the same time. So our community members that are Muslim observed Ramadan for 1 month. Currently happening is Passover, and that is, I believe, 7 to 8 days. And we also have in the Christian religion Lent, that is culminating in Easter. So everybody that observed these holidays, I wish you joyous, peaceful observance time. And if I missed any holidays or traditions, my sincerest apologies. And the last thing I wanted to say was I had the honor and pleasure of going to Corton. Shout out to Principal Guillardi Cornier for hosting. She did a wonderful job. I went with Mr. Tijani and Mr. Heitch, and we went all around the building. It's one of my favorite things to do as a board trustee because you go in the classrooms. And shout out to all the teachers who allowed us in because we just kind of barged in. And they welcomed us with open arms, as did the kids. And we get to see firsthand what the kids do. Their questions are amazing to us. Their little side comments are funny as can be. And I just really have a good time visiting schools. And that wraps up my board comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Holcomer?
I just have a few quick things. So earlier this month, I also had the opportunity to go on a school visit with Dr. Roberson. We went to Groves, and we had 3 student ambassadors who took us around, and we went into several classrooms. We also, that was the day that I believe the juniors were doing their SAT preparation, so we got to sneak in and listen to that for a little bit. Also, Dr. Roberson and I attended a dinner meeting through Oakland County School Board Association, and so we got to go to the Oakland Schools Technical Campus in Clarkston, which is, gosh, I haven't been there in probably 4 years. It's a very, very nice campus, and the culinary students actually cooked our dinner.
Oh, my gosh.
They have an agri-science program. We got to tour the whole facility. And I just want to give a shout out to our county and our ISD because these, we have 4 tech campuses around the county. And if you or your child has never had the opportunity to explore everything that we offer career technical wise, there is so much out there. Please, the website gives you a lot of information, and I just want to put that out there. And then lastly, I did yesterday get to go to a League of Women Voters meeting where, again, our superintendent from the ISD, Ken Gutman, and Lisa Hansknecht, who is one of his lobbyists, I guess we'll call it. And they talked about future trends in education and advocation. So, that's it.
Trustee Spencer?
Sure, thank you. This morning I had the honor of visiting Next and participating in their board meeting. Their topic of discussion was their building within the city of Birmingham and in collaboration with the Y, which is still under discussion without any solidified plans. So I know that they are working overtime to try to figure out how to make that happen for themselves. So the majority of their meeting was spent discussing that. I also wanted just to lift up again the autism walk that's happening. The Friends are putting that on Friday, April 25th at 12 p.m. at Barnum Park. So if anybody can grab their families or their kiddos and join, they would appreciate that. Thank you.
Trustee Joseph?
Yes, thank you. So tomorrow, we're going to have the government committee meeting. I'll have the update in the next meeting. And I also want to wish wonderful holidays to all the various religions and holidays that everybody celebrates. And talking about once in a blue moon, by the way, Trustee Ajluni, is that in the Easter this year, the Orthodox and the Catholics are celebrating the same Easter. So that's kind of rare as well. So wish everybody a wonderful holiday. And there's only 2 more months to the school year, believe it or not. So be prepared, for an exciting summer. We look forward. A lot of us have children graduating this year on the board. A lot of us are excited, and we're going to be not only board members, but we're going to be parents. So I'm just excited to be there as a parent/board member. So that's about it. Thank you.
Trustees Tajani?
Yeah, 2 quick things. So West Maple Elementary, they won the Elementary Science Olympiad competition last weekend. Awesome. I was there, coaching my 2 kids. Both of our events, though, they lost pretty bad. So I think I'm just going to hang my hat as a Science Olympiad coach. And then I did visit Bingham Farms with Dr. Robertson. And such a great school. They have some great expansions going on, and that school is going to be, it's already incredible, and it's going to be even more incredible. Of course, Quarton, that's, my kids went there initially before BCS, and there's a special place in my heart for Quarton and the teachers, especially when my kids were little, so it's been a great week.
I just have a few things. The Birmingham Youth Assistance Youth in Service is on Tuesday, April 29th at 6:30 here, or at Groves in the Little Theater with reception, and then the presentation of awards is at 7. This year we had 51 applicants between our local middle schools and high schools, so that I think is a record for at least over the past years that I've been involved with BIY, at least the past 6 years. So very exciting to recognize youth, not only in our 3 high schools, Lincoln Street, Seaholm, Groves, and then Berkshire BCS and Derby, but other high schools in our community as well, so all of the private schools. The BEF, Birmingham Education Foundation, we have set the date for BASH for next year. It's January 31st, so moving up a week into January and out of February. So that's exciting. Trustees, we do have a board retreat a week from Saturday where we will be talking, so don't forget that. And then in the theme of April with all of the different months, it's also Volunteer Appreciation Month, so much to what people may not know, we are all volunteers, so I just want to appreciate all of you and everything each of you do for our board. You are very appreciated, so thank you.
Right back at you, President Rath.
Thank you. Thank you.
I do want to say one thing about the board retreat. So when I came on as a board member for the first time, I saw a retreat. I'm like, oh, wow, are we going to go do something fun, somewhere nice? It ends up being a room here for 4 or 5 hours, really doing some deep diving on a lot of great topics, but it is not as glamorous as the title suggests.
Bagels.
The community's amazing, right?
Trustee Spencer wants to rename.
I said I was gonna bring a motion forward to rename it from Retreat, since we are just in the same building that we're usually in for a couple of hours, so I agree.
You bring up a good
But,
point.
yes, the company's good.
You guys got me. Well done.
We should be sitting at Tim Hortons, that would be.
So, thank you, trustees. Now we will move into our consent agenda, which consists of, public comment, excuse me. Sorry, I'm skipping right over. It looks like we have 2 public comments this evening. Before we begin, I want to go ahead and read our public comment policy. Because the Birmingham Board of Education values public meetings, not just meetings in public, we welcome public comment on school issues. Most comments can be concisely stated in 3 minutes, and the board respectfully asks that comments remain focused on the topic or issue and not on specific personnel. We welcome your comments, but cannot discuss nor debate items not on the agenda. When asked to discuss non-agenda items, we can share facts, but not engage in discussion. We need to follow laws regarding public notice on issues and be aware that other community members may have interest in the topic, but without proper notice may not be present to contribute. With that said, I would like to invite Ann Roberts to the podium.
Which one's speaking?
All right, I'm Ann Roberts. This is Nellie. We are actually here about her sister, who will be in junior kindergarten at Greenfield. I've been bothering all of you about it. So I just wanted to, again, ask that that's considered thoughtfully, and I would like to request some transparency on how many kids are currently enrolled in the junior kindergarten who would be Greenfield kids, as well as how many children are on the wait list overall. And I would also like to know how many children are needed to have a junior kindergarten classroom without an aide, and then a junior kindergarten classroom with an aide. And I appreciate your openness to listening to me, and I did very much enjoy the coffee and conversation. I thought that was a very nice way to let the community be heard. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And next, I would like to invite up Stephanie Jones to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie L. Jones, and I have a student in Birmingham Public Schools, special education. 1 year and 5 days ago, we sent each of you a deck titled, "It Can't Be Zero." Just days prior to you receiving that deck, I was speaking to another BPS special education parent about how bored my son was at home during spring break. There weren't any spring break camps available for him. I also shared how I was always told that he couldn't participate in Kids Club after school program due to a lack of staff support. She then shared her rejection stories with me. She too had tried to register her special education son in several BPS extracurricular activities and was always told no. Across the 2024 winter and spring course catalog, we were told, I wrote the word none. We were told no. I said to her, there is none, nothing, zilch, zero. And she replied to me, it can't be zero. In 2023-2024, BPS offered almost 900, yes, 900 extracurricular activities just through Birmingham Community Education. This doesn't even include the hundreds of programs offered by each school. How many offered support for inclusion? 0. How many offered adaptive programming for special needs? 0. It can't be 0. And we came excited and with solutions. We even had survey data from other BPS special needs parents. We brought you a list of special needs vendors, weeding through them, talking to other organizations who worked with them so that you wouldn't have to do the work. We brought you plug-and-play vendors ready to offer adaptive programming for our kids, including biking, swimming, gymnastics, and tennis. And still, after-school options for 2024-2025 remain 0. 2024 winter break, 0. 2025 midwinter break, 0. 2025 spring break, 0. Out of 180 camps offered this coming summer, there's one adaptive course, a fitness and exercise program. I really want to say to the parents, how is it that we aren't demanding these things for our kids? This shouldn't be optional. We can't look at this as the district doing something special for our kids. The question is, why aren't you? Why don't our kids have a full, robust swim program at camp? Why isn't there an adaptive basketball program? Our kids are students in this district, and they deserve it just like general education students. The money is there. The money is here. We'll get to that. To the special education students, parents, to this board and executive staff, it can't be 0. It absolutely can't be 0.
Sorry, Miss, your time limit.
You can find the full report at itcan'tbe0.org, and each of you will have another copy of that report in your email before this meeting ends. It can't be 0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite, I don't know, Mr. or Mrs. Robinson. Sorry.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. This is my first time actually doing this. I heard you say a rule, and I apologize if I say something wrong. But I have been going through an issue with Groves High School since 2023. I have followed all the proper protocols in regards to my son. He goes to Grove. He's a junior, and he plays basketball. He's been playing with Birmingham since the 6th grade, and he's been playing basketball pretty much since kindergarten. The class of 2026, the students there were treated really unfairly. I feel, based on what I observed, all the black children pretty much didn't have any playing time. And I didn't say anything his 9th grade year, his 10th grade year, because basically my son was just happy to be on the team. Finally, I spoke out, me and a few other parents. I followed the protocol. I went through the principal, every step that they told me to go through. I expressed that I felt like it was discrimination. I felt like friends and family is running the team, and it wasn't fair. So after I spoke out, pretty much the head coach I felt like he retaliated against my son, even to the point where he stated, there's no room for you next year either. He cut him from the team. He asked him how long. He asked my son, how much playing time do you think you would get as a junior? My son told him maybe 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. He told him that wasn't worth his time. But other students that made the team, they were getting barely 2 minutes. Like I said, it really changed once I spoke out. I actually spoke to several members up here, and I do appreciate some following up with me, but actually some that I reached out to did not respond back. They stated that they would call me back. We're doing research, but never replied back. So I did reach out to an attorney. I did get legal representation, but unfortunately, In the process, my mother was just diagnosed with cancer, so I had to put that on pause, and I figured I'd try this way before I continue on with that. But the head coach is definitely, I don't know if I should say his name, but I'm sure everybody.
We don't comment on personnel.
So the head coach for Grove's boys varsity basketball team is definitely being discriminatory against my son. He's showing favoritism, and he also retaliated against my son. So with that being said, I really hope that you guys look into it and not just state to me that you're going to look into it and never follow back up. I've been waiting for a call back now since January 30th. And just also to let you know, with every meeting was recorded. Every meeting was recorded. I have all my emails, so I don't want to take it that route. I just really want some assistance. So with that, I concede. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last public comment for this evening is Carrie Betts.
Good evening again. I just wanted to make public comment. Dr. Roberson had shared regarding federal funding loss in one area that affects education, and I wanted to give a quick update not only to our school board, but to also our community members so that they have time to take action should they choose to do so. The effects of IMLS funding, I'm not sure how many of you know what that is, but it is library and museum funding from the federal government. That affects our educational institutions directly. And I serve on the State of Michigan Advisory Council for the Library Services and Technology Act, which is where IMLS funding comes through. This is grant funding, and it directly funds something called MELCAT and MEL.org, which is the Michigan Electronic Library. And I just want to give you a real quick brief picture of how that affects us directly. Every single day, all of my students use World Book, and that is funded by this program. We use all of the databases that are provided by MEL.org, and so I'm going to say that again, it's MEL.org. You guys can go there. This is a resource that funds all of these databases that are used in I imagine, every educational institution in the state of Michigan. We're looking at $4 million that we are trying to find in our state funding to make up the loss of federal funds, and we are not confident that that is going to be attained. We would know by September 30th if the state of Michigan is fully funding MEL.org and MELCAT. And with a minute remaining, I just want you guys to know that we have to write our legislators in order to get that taken care of. I have more information if you want to reach out. I know that I'll be reaching out directly to April to talk about that and with Zach, because these are databases that we are using in our high school to supplement resources, and we're not alone there. So, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Roberson, would you like to provide?
Well, so for the next upcoming meeting, when Audra Haldorf comes for special education to kind of go over what's going on autism, I'll also have her share what we have done with the adaptive classes and the community ed classes as well.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your public comment. Now we will move into our consent agenda, which includes our personnel report, financial statements, and minutes from our past meetings. Could I have a motion to consider Resolution 72 our consent agenda?
I move that we consider Resolution 72 the consent agenda.
Support.
Moved by Trustee Holcomer, supported by Trustee Spencer. Trustees, are there any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 72 our consent agenda, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And at this time, I would like to turn our meeting over to Ms. Imperio for the teaching and learning resolutions, 73 and 74, Wit and Wisdom and Magnetic, and 9 through 12 ELA.
All right, let's see if we can get this working. Okay. Good evening. I'm presenting on 2 resolutions tonight: approval of our K-8 ELA literacy or reading instructional materials, and our 9-12 ELA pilot recommendation. For those here and those watching from home, we did have the opportunity to have a very in-depth, detailed discussion about these instructional materials at our study session, where several members of the curriculum design team and pilot teachers were able to speak to the board about the process and about the materials. And so it was a lengthy meeting, and I think a very informational meeting. I do want to take a moment to thank the more than 150 educators who helped lead this work, some of which are in our audience this evening. They took part in the leadership team, the curriculum design team, or as a part of the pilot, as a pilot teacher. They've been phenomenal instructional leaders throughout this process, and I could not be more proud to work alongside so many excellent literacy educators. I'd also like to thank the Student Learning and Inclusion team. Sarah and Stacy led this project with the expertise and care that you would expect from a district leader. Lindsay and Caitlin also supported this initiative, and so I want to thank you for ensuring that this work remained focused on quality teaching and learning and supporting and empowering our educators. I'm going to start first with an overview of our process, where we have some new board members and maybe some new families watching. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about our curriculum development process. Over the last 3 years, we've been working to redesign our curriculum process. It is a 4-phase process that is grounded in data, it's grounded in research, and educator and stakeholder voice, ensuring that the materials and the decisions we make reflect our core values as a district and lead us towards reaching our strategic plan goals. Phase 1 is all about research, vision, and analysis. We analyze student achievement data, we review our current curriculum, we gather feedback from educators, families, and about their experience, in this case in ELA or reading. And this phase is really about answering the question, do our current materials meet our needs? Or is it time to explore new materials? And if so, what criteria should we be looking for? Phase 2 is really about evaluating and selecting materials. Our leadership team, which is formed during Phase 1, expands to become the curriculum design team. This group represents all schools in the district, all grade levels in the district, special education, and English language development teachers. And they use the resources that are created during the first phase in order to evaluate the materials and make a recommendation. Right now, with K-8, we are at the end of Phase 2, where we have initiated a pilot. We've had the pilot underway since the beginning of this school year, and we are here to recommend instructional materials for adoption. With 9-12, we are recommending instructional materials for pilot. If you are to approve our K-8 instructional materials, we will move into Phase 3. Phase 3 is a very important phase because no resource in and of itself is perfect. We rely on the real classroom experiences that take place during the pilot. We rely on the stakeholder feedback that we collect, the academic data that we collect, in order to build our curriculum. So instructional materials are a part of a curriculum. Our curriculum design team will come together, build in curriculum maps, and that is where they'll make decisions to enhance the curriculum resources that are selected. And we do that to make sure that all of our resources meet the excellence that is expected from Birmingham Public Schools. Following Phase 3, we move into Phase 4, which is about implementation, which is really about executing, analyzing, and going through a problem-solving process to make sure that we're improving student achievement outcomes throughout the implementation of the new instructional materials. As a part of this process, we go through a pretty rigorous approval process. The materials that are coming before you today have been recommended by the curriculum design team, and they had a unanimous recommendation for both materials that I'm putting forth, both grade bands. They go before the Instructional Leadership Council, which is a group of district leaders who have expertise in curriculum and instruction. They have unanimously approved the instructional materials moving forward that I'm presenting tonight. And then finally, they're approved by the District Curriculum Council, and that's a representation of stakeholders, teachers, students, community members, parents, administrators, and they also have unanimously approved the instructional materials that I'm bringing forward tonight. We also hold ourselves to 5 key considerations. They're kind of principles that we hold ourselves to. We want a fair and transparent process. We accomplish that through a request for proposal that brings us a variety of resources, not just those that are hand-chosen by someone in my role. It also brings us competitive bidding pricing. We keep everybody updated along the way. We also believe in educator-led decision-making. We have a rigorous evaluation tool that we use that is grounded in national resources, but also adapted to meet our Birmingham public schools community. Meaningful stakeholder involvement, I'll talk a little bit more about that later, and then we are committed to implementing with integrity every time we stand before you with new instructional materials. I also want to make it clear that instructional materials are a piece of a puzzle that we put together to improve student achievement outcomes. When I talk about improving student achievement outcomes, I am not indicating that our scores are not well. Our children are very high performing. We are a very high performing district. But we stand by until every child is reading on grade level. We're going to continue to work towards improving student achievement outcomes. And so instructional materials paired with research-based instructional practice from our excellent teachers that engage students and keep them excited about learning, all brought together through ongoing professional learning, is truly what will improve student achievement outcomes. You could get new materials and not have the other pieces of the puzzle and not see your student achievement outcomes improve. Also, I love to be transparent. You have seen this slide before when we brought math forward and we brought the pilot forward. Anytime we are in a position where we are doing something new or engaged in a big change, there is research both in industry and in education that Michael Fulham refers to as an implementation dip. So while we're excited about these new materials and we know they will ultimately serve students, I like to be full transparency. In the first year of new materials, you sometimes see student achievement decline as teachers make that adjustment and students make that adjustment, and then in year 2, year 3, you begin to actualize student achievement outcomes improving. I'm going to talk now, so what I just shared applies to K-12, the full process. I'm going to talk quickly about our 9-12 ELA instructional materials. So our curriculum design team is bringing forth Study Sync. Study Sync is a comprehensive and rigorous program. It's available in both print and digital form, so teachers can move in and out of print and digital. And it's designed to meet the needs of all learners, from advanced learners to learners that are making their way to grade level achievement. 9-12 is on a little bit of a different timeline than K-8. So we started this journey together as a K-12 literacy leadership team. And at the end of that time together, our K-8 teachers were confident that they wanted to seek new instructional materials. Our previous materials, or our current materials, are Lucy Calkins' Readers Writers Workshop and Lucy Calkins' Phonics. So they were confident that they wanted to seek new materials. Our 9-12 teachers decided they wanted to spend a little bit more time looking at their current materials. 9th grade is grounded in a curriculum called Collections, and 10th, 11th, and 12th grade were teacher-developed units that were developed around 10 years ago and that have been iterated throughout the years. So they wanted to take some time to really look at those and see, did they meet the demand of the standards that we're required to teach? Ultimately, This year, they came to the decision that they wanted to look at new instructional materials for grades 9-12, and that is after doing the same process that our K-8 team, the evaluation tool, meeting several days, evaluating the materials, and that's what brought them to their study sync recommendation. 9-12 also sought feedback from stakeholders. When we seek feedback, we seek both strengths and opportunities. And the majority of teachers that did review Study Sync either somewhat or strongly agreed that it had an overall value. Our parents and teachers really wanted us to stay focused on a novel-based curriculum paired with those ancillary supportive texts. And the majority of students felt as though the resource was engaging, but they were a little concerned about having a textbook when they looked at the textbook. And so our pilot that we're recommending will be 9th and 10th grade English classes. Materials will be piloted in English 11th, so English 9, English 10, English 11, and English 12B. 12A will remain the choice options that our students currently have for 12A. And here you see the breakdown of the cost. So we will be working with McGraw-Hill to make a 3-year payment plan. So we'll make 3 payments, and you can see how much each is for a total cost of a 6-year adoption. So we'll be paying over 3 years. We'll not be paying again until the end of our 6-year adoption. That is the end of what I'm sharing about 9-12. Would you like me to take questions about 9-12 or talk about K-8 and then do both resolutions at the end?
Well, but I do have a question about Study Sync, if it's just easier to ask it now while it's fresh in everyone's mind.
Of course.
So when you say that everybody will be piloting it, but we're actually going to purchase everything, and so I guess my question is it really a pilot, or are we just going to be using it and then adopting it?
Yeah, this is a significant conversation that took place with the curriculum design team. We talked about a variety of different ways to pilot. I would still consider it a pilot year, even though everyone will be piloting, and that is because the pilot year is about learning from the curriculum. And you don't want to give up that learning year to gather that information from real life experience with instructional materials before you design your curriculum guides. During that year, you discover a specific text may not align well with our community, a specific unit may not be as robust as we expect it to be. And so I would still consider it a pilot because we will still be gathering the same type of information that we gather from the pilot in order to design our curriculum. We offered many different options for a pilot. Our curriculum design team really felt like it would be very difficult to do partial pilot in high school, knowing what the student read in 9th grade and then what they read in 10th grade and then 11th and 12th. It would become very cumbersome to try to figure out how to phase that in.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, I will move on to grades K-8. As you know, we started our pilot for grades K-8 at the start of this school year. We piloted, so right now we're at the end, just to reference our phases, we're at the end of phase 2, and we're bringing forth the instructional materials for full adoption. As you may remember, we piloted both Wit and Wisdom, or are piloting Wit and Wisdom and Magnetic. Magnetic is in grades K2, and Magnetic is a program that focuses on the foundational skills of literacy. So when we talk about teaching reading, we talk about teaching foundational skills, which is teaching children letters, letter names, letter sounds, put the sounds together, blend them together to make a word, put the words together to make a sentence. So it's phonics, phonological awareness, decoding skills. And then the other part of teaching reading is really about language comprehension. So can I build knowledge from reading? Can I comprehend it? Am I growing my vocabulary? Can I understand the vocabulary in the text that I'm reading? Can I make sense of various text structures? So those two aspects come together to make a skilled reader. And so the foundational skills live in grades K2. In grade 3, they turn into fluency skills, and Wit and Wisdom does address fluency. And so in grades K2, we were piloting magnetic, and we were piloting Wit and Wisdom in grades K8. Our magnetic pilot went extremely well. Actually, our pilot was fully voluntary, and only 9 classrooms chose not to pilot magnetic. And so it has, we piloted in all K2 buildings. We included the special education teachers, our LRC teachers, center-based teachers, and English language development teachers and students. This particular graph, you always have to be careful looking at data as you reach your midway point through first year. Like, this is our mid-year iReady data, so our materials had only been in place for 1 semester. In K2, we had a few different implementations. We had magnetic only, we had Wit and Wisdom only, we had magnetic and Wit and Wisdom together, and some teachers were not piloting any of the materials. Dark blue bar shows magnetic, light blue shows Wit and Wisdom only, yellow shows both, and gray indicates the classrooms, the student scores that were not piloting any of the new materials. What is very interesting here is if you look in grades K and 1, you can see where our foundational skills are very strong. The students that piloted magnetic only did much better. The students that piloted magnetic and Wit and Wisdom did much better. The students that piloted only Wit and Wisdom with our current foundational skills, which is Lucy Phonics, or didn't pilot anything, did not score as well. So we can certainly see the impact that these instructional materials are already beginning to have. And you'll notice the reverse is true in 2nd grade, and that's because you've built the foundational skills, now you're growing into that language comprehension. And so Wit and Wisdom only, our students performed very well. Wit and Wisdom and magnetic, they performed very well. And magnetic alone, or the other programs, did not perform as well as Wit and Wisdom, or Wit and Wisdom and magnetic. So we piloted 50% of the district with Wit and Wisdom. Same combination, made sure we covered every school, all grades, all stakeholders. Gathered feedback from our stakeholders as it related to the strengths and opportunities. Here I'm going to highlight that Wit and Wisdom was very well received. Both our teachers and our students really felt excitement over the engaging text, over the engagement of the text and the connection to history or science or the humanities. They did, both our teachers and our students, grappled greatly with the length of the lessons in Wit and Wisdom, and also the student workbooks. The student workbooks didn't have page number, they didn't have color, they were not super user-friendly. And our parents in a survey responded, although we didn't have the strongest response, 78% of those parents were extremely or somewhat satisfied with their child's experience with Wit and Wisdom this year. This is just an outlook of our overall data. And again, this is our beginning of year iReady, and now this is our mid-year iReady, so 1 semester of the pilot. This is looking at K-8 as a whole, so a very high-level look. This is what you would look at to see, are we seeing an implementation dip with so many new materials in the district? And what you see here is that our grades are performing the same or slightly better across overall reading, vocabulary, comprehension. We're doing pretty well. This is a more aggregate look, so this is looking at each grade, and this is exactly what you would expect to see at this point in 1 semester pilot. Some grades are the same, some grades are going down just a little bit, some grades are going up a lot. It's particular to notice that you can see 6, 7, and 8 is seeing more improvement than K5. As you know, our 6, 7, and 8 teachers only teach ELA. Our K-5 teachers teach all 4 subject areas, and in some cases, we're learning 2 new materials. So we would expect to see by the end of the year even more improvement in our K-5 classrooms. So part of the way through our pilot, a new friend joined us at the dinner table. And that is about 2 months into the pilot. Great Minds, which is the company that makes Wit and Wisdom, announced that they were releasing a version 2 of Wit and Wisdom that is called Arts and Letters. Our teachers began to hear about this through a variety of networks. They're on social medias where they're working with other teachers that use Wit and Wisdom. And although they were very excited about Wit and Wisdom, they had some things that they wanted attended to that we were hearing Arts and Letters attended to. So they came to myself and to Sarah, and they asked us to reconvene the curriculum design team to look at this version 2 to see if it solves for the problems that our district had identified we would want to solve for anyway. I don't want that to mean that we weren't doing well with Wit and Wisdom. It was a great curriculum, but you find things that are not going so well. So we brought the team back together, and we looked at Arts and Letters, and we looked at Wit and Wisdom, and we looked at the criteria that you see posted on the PowerPoint: standards alignment, usability, writing, is the writing instruction good, student friendly. And basically, when they looked at Wit and Wisdom version 1 and they looked at Wit and Wisdom version 2, if version 1 wasn't, if everything was the same between Wit and Wisdom version 1 and Wit and Wisdom version 2, Arts and Letters, they scored it a 0, neutral. No reason to really move to Arts and Letters. If they scored it a positive number, it indicated it was an improvement in Arts and Letters. If they scored it in a negative number, it indicated that it was better in Wit and Wisdom version 1. And so if you look at the scores on this slide, you will notice that in each of the criteria they reviewed, there are positive numbers, with an extremely positive number under teacher usability and lesson design, under writing and evidence-based thinking, and under stakeholder satisfaction and implementation. The reason for that is, I had mentioned our stakeholder feedback earlier. So Arts and Letters, version 2 of Wit and Wisdom, reduced lesson time from 90 minutes to 60 minutes. Many of our teachers felt as though they couldn't even get Wit and Wisdom done in 90 minutes. So the reduced lesson time. Our team was very thoughtful in making sure that that reduced lesson time did not reduce rigor and did not change the quality of the lessons that they were teaching. They updated the text to make them more engaging and to bring a bit more joy. Some grade levels, we were experiencing a lot of heavy topics, and they brought in some lighter, more joyful topics. They streamlined the assessment process in Arts and Letters. They enhanced the student journals. They now are colorful. They have more writing space, and they have page numbers. They improved the teacher editions, so they're no longer a novel or a high school textbook. Just what you need to teach the lesson is there. And so one of our curriculum design team members really said it best when they said Arts and Letters is a more streamlined, user-friendly version of Wit and Wisdom. This is the cost of Wit and Wisdom and Magnetic. So Wit and Wisdom and Magnetic are different structure than Study Sync. You have a year 1 cost, and then you have annual renewals. That is the case with our current curriculum materials, where your consumables get renewed over the year. And our recommendation, so the curriculum design team, the district curriculum council, myself, the educators that are here, is we recommend approval for Wit and Wisdom version 2, Arts and Letters, and we also obviously are moving forward with approval with Magnetic. Thank you.
I have a motion for Resolution 73, approval of grades K-8 ELA literacy instructional materials.
I move to consider resolution, did we say 70?
73, I'm sorry.
73, yes, okay. 73, and are we doing 70?
We'll do the first
Separate.
one.
Got
separate.
it.
Yep.
73, Wit and Wisdom Magnetic for K-8.
I support.
Moved by Trustee Edgelund, supported by Trustee Tajani. Are there any questions or comments?
I just had a quick comment. I just wanted to reiterate for the public that Arts and Letters is the new name for Wit and Wisdom. I think we're using it kind of interchangeably right now, but just so everyone knows.
Oh, did I say?
Or Arts and Letters.
Sorry, or.
She said Wit. Oh, yeah, now I'm gonna say it wrong.
Here.
Well, right. So I think it's just as clarification.
Thank you for
It
pointing
is
that out.
Arts and Letters, and it's not just because of that. I think it's just being used just so that there's not any confusion. And also that Trustee Zammit and I sit on the curriculum council as stakeholders as well, because when you were talking about the different members of the committee, that we have the honor of being there as well.
Yes.
And you know, I also want to add, Ms. Imperio, that you and your team, I mean, I hope the community understands what it's like to do a curriculum review and to pull everything together and look at every nuance factor of a program, then implementing it as a pilot, and you know, finding every day like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do with this lesson, I don't understand, and just everything that goes into it. It has been so thorough, and I'm so appreciative of the work that you've done, and I feel confident that the information and the decision that you are recommending is the right decision, which makes me agree to move this resolution forward. So I want to thank you and your team.
Thank you very much.
I agree, Lori. I think just having in our study session, we really had a deep dive into this last week at our study session, and it was very helpful to hear all of the educators relay back to us that this is the most thorough process that they've been through as it relates to reviewing and determining curriculum. So thank you to you and all of our educators who piloted and who put many hours into both of these programs for us. Thank you. Trustees, anything else before we vote? Moved by Trustee Ashlooney, seconded by Trustee Tajani. All those in favor of Resolution 73, the Wit and Wisdom Magnetic and, ELA Literacy Instructional Materials, paper 8. All those in favor?
Aye. Congratulations, Jen.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Now, if I could have a motion for Resolution 74, which would be approval for recommendation of grades 9 through 11 and 12B ELA Literacy Instructional Materials.
I move to move resolution number 74 to be considered for the approval for recommendation of grades 9 through 11 and 12B ELA Literacy Instructional Materials.
Support.
Moved by Trustee Joseph, support by Trustee Spencer. Any comments or questions, trustees? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 74, recommendation of grades 9 through 11 and 12B ELA Literacy Instructional Materials, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we will move to other, which is Resolution 75, the Village of Beverly Hills Pathway Project regarding the easement.
And Brad Scheffler is here also.
Mr. Scheffler, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. Thanks for waiting. We appreciate it.
He's here in case you guys have any questions.
Wonderful. And trustees, I think that you'll recall from our study session, we had a discussion about the easement at Groves. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Scheffler? Seeing none, if I could have a motion to consider resolution 75, actually, just to clarify, in our resolution it says City of Birmingham easement, so could we amend that to say Village of Beverly Hills? Which I think we could just do verbally, so.
I motion for Resolution 75, Village of Beverly Hills Pathway Project and easement.
Thank you, Trustee
Bless
Tajani.
you. Support.
Moved by Trustee Tajani, seconded by Trustee Ashlooney. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Resolution 75, the Village of Beverly Hills easement and sidewalk construction, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you so much. No problem. Easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We try to make it easy.
Trustees, do we have any other business to discuss this evening? Seeing none, meeting adjourned at 8:29. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.